Hello and welcome to Let It Grow 2024. This is a brand new edition of an older design of mine that I originally created in 2009. I made some changes. Those who know the old pattern will probably recognize, and some technical changes mostly. We need 6mm round beads, 4mm bicones, 4mm round beads, 3mm round beads, size 11 beads and size 15s, and of course a clasp. I was choosing a lobster clasp here because in the past I was using magnets, but they were quite heavy for this bracelet, so I prefer this one now. The thread that I'm using is my yoke beading thread. You can also take KO thread or 1G. That's all the same. It has a 330 DTEX. That's the deciding point. You may also use Fireline if you like. We start stringing one 6mm round bead, 11 size 11, one 4mm round bead, one size 11, one 6mm round bead, again another 11, and then one 4mm round bead and an 11, and then you will pass back through the beads of this round to fix the thread and to create a circle in the first place and then fix the thread. Just one thing, in the description of the pattern you will also find a link to my website where you can download the PDF with the written instructions for this project. So if you prefer that one or want to have both, you can have both here. So the next thing is that we pass another time through the beads of this round now. And this time we're only passing through the round beads to fix the thread even more and to bring more tension into this round. This is always a problem when you have large beads and small beads in a ring, especially the large beads. They will always loosen the tension, and by skipping the 11s here in this last turn, you pull the larger components a little bit closer. The thread is not visible at the end because we will cover this part, so don't worry about that. Now we're exiting from the size 11 right in front of the 6mm, one of the 6mm round beads, and here we string now one size 11, 3/15s, an 11, 3/15s, and one more 11. We skip the 6mm round bead and pass the following size 11. Then string one size 15, 3 11s, one size 15. Skip the 4mm round bead and pass the following size 11, the 6mm round bead, and the next 11 as well. Then we repeat this last part, so we string one size 15, 3 11s, one size 15. Skip the 4mm round bead, and then you pass the following size 11 and then forward along the beads of this first arc that we added in this round, and we will exit here from the size 11 in the middle of this arc. We have to add our clasp here in the beginning, and that's what we're doing now. So we string 2 11s, one size 15, the loop of your clasp, one size 15, and 2 more 11s. I could string my 2 15s at once because they are small enough to go through this loop of the clasp. If the one is smaller in your case, you have to string 1 15, then the loop, then 1 15 again. Pass back to the 11 that we were exiting from, and then you will weave a second time along the beads of this round. Just to put a little bit more strength in the tension here. And now we will weave a third time around. Make sure that your thread tension doesn't get loose now. And this time we exit from the first size 11 here. Then we string a size 15 and squish it in between the two 11s. Just pass the next size 11 and the 2 15s. By passing through the 2 15s, you automatically go through the loop too. So one more 15, and then you add one more 15 here on the other side in between the two 11s, and then you weave forward to the size 11 that is the first one here right after this arc on the outline. Now we're going to create a little X on top of this this component here. So you string 3 15s, one 3mm round bead, 3 15s, and you see I'm going diagonally in the opposite position here. I'm going across the square of 4 round beads here and pass through the size 11 that is here between the 6mm round bead and the 4mm round bead. Then I'm weaving back through the 3 15s and the 3mm round bead. That brings me back to the middle here. Then I'm stringing 3 more 15s. And I started on the right, top right corner here. Now I'm going through the bead in the top left corner, in the drawing that is. Of course, here I'm holding it a little bit different because I'm beading in front of the camera. So you pass through the size 11 here in that other top corner, then you pass back through the 3 15s and back into the round bead in the center, and then we string 3 more 15s. That's the fourth and last group. And we pass through the open position here in that other corner, that's in the drawing, the bottom right corner. And then we weave up again through the last 3 15s into the middle. And then we have to check when you move it. It's sometimes like, oh, wait, did I start on the left or on the right? It's actually easy to see because all your positions have 2 threads going between the 15s and the size 11 in the corner. And only here in my top right corner, there is only 1 thread between the 15s and the 11. So I'm weaving up to these 3 15s to my starting position and weave back again through that 11 where I started from. Make sure, if I was going counterclockwise in that direction in the beginning, and I'm going from right to left here because I want to have the same position for the thread in all 4 corners. Now we are weaving forward. This component is already finished here, and we're weaving forward to start our first flower. Therefore, we're exiting from this open 6mm round bead in the opposite position of the clasp, of course. And then we string alternating 1 11, 1 6mm round bead 4 times, and then 1 more 11. And then we pass back through that 6mm round bead that we were exiting from. And now the first thing I do is to add a little strengthening to these corners. You see I'm exiting here from the left hand 11. That is the one that belongs to the previous unit. I string 1 11 and pass through the right hand 11 here, which belongs to my new unit. And I do the same on the other side. Here I'm starting from the right hand one first, because I want to go into that beading direction later, so it's easier like that. I always prefer going counterclockwise. So you exit from that 11, you string 1 11, you pass through the 11 of the previous unit. You could now just go back through the round bead to the other side, as ever you prefer, where you prefer to start your new round. Now I'm passing through this 11 and then into the first round bead here. Before we start with the embellishment of this round, also here, we will pass in a circle through the round beads only. Always make sure that you're skipping your 11s from the inside so that the thread is not going on the outside along these 11s or getting across these 11s, to snuggle up our round beads and to have more tension in this unit. And once you did that in all 5 positions, you will exit from the next 11 that is between 2 round beads. That's the last position I have to skip here. That's the 5th position. And I'm exiting from this 111 here. It doesn't matter from which 11 you start. You can do that, start from any 11. This is valid for the entire rounds for this flower. You can start the round wherever you are. There's no strict rule for that. We now string 111, 215s, 111, 215s, 111, and then we skip the round beat and pass to the next 11. And you see this arc is a little bit short, which is on purpose. So pull it tight so it comes on top of that round beat. Then we pass back through the last 11, going up again here. Pull it tight that the beads are snuggling up, and then you string 2 15s, 111, 2 15s, 111. And then we pass through the next size 11. So we skip another round beat and pass through the following size 11. Pull the thread tight, hold it tight, and then weave back up through the last 11 you just added. And repeat it from here. So always stringing 2 15s, 111, 2 15s, 111, and then pass to the next 11. The further you get in this round, the more the tension will stay, the easier it is to hold the tension, to say it like that. You see here I'm just pulling it always tight when I go back to the size 11. When I go back up here, I try to snuggle this up. If you see that your round is very loose in the beginning, especially when you're new to this kind of technique, it might be a bit loose. Don't worry, you can just reinforce the round. Just weave exactly in the same thread path along parts of the round or the entire round. Usually it's only loose in the first arc or in the first and second arc, and then afterwards the tension gets higher. But if whatever is necessary, you can just reinforce parts or the entire round to snuggle up the beads better, and then you do the step up. In my case here, the tension was good enough, so I could step up right in the first place. Now for the last unit, you only string 2 15s and 11 2 15s, and then we pass down to the very first 11 of the very first arc. See here, I'm just sharing this 11 between the two arcs here as the other one, as we do in the other positions as well. You pass through the size 11 here at the bottom, and then weave up through the 11 and the 2 15s of the first arc, and into the 11 in the middle, or in the top position on this arc. As I said, you can reinforce it and make the step up in another position as ever it is needed. Here it is fine so far. Now we string one bicone and pass through the 11 in the middle of the next arc. You repeat this 4 more times around, so 5 times in total. And for this round, it's also valid if you feel that it's a little bit too loose, you can just reinforce the round. There's still plenty of space in the beads. You can feel that when you go through these size 11s. In the next rounds, we're only going through the bicones in the next 3 rounds, so there's still plenty of space. Okay, so we exit from one of the bicones, and then we string one size 15 and pass to the next bicone. Also this we repeat 4 more times around. Now I'm using this boring row to tell you a little bit. When I made the first instruction for this design, it was in 2009. This was when I opened my very first online shop, my very first own online shop. And then 4 years later, this shop was a little bit outdated. It was only a website with a shop system embedded, and it was not really working for me anymore. And so I opened a new shop. New online shop, went to a new platform, and this was outdated now 11 years later. This was in 2013. Okay, I'm going to continue as soon as I explain you the next round. We're at the end of the round here. And now we're exiting from a 4mm bicone here. And then we will always string 2 15s and then pass through the next bicone. You see these 2 15s, they are laying on the outline here. The 11 in between was on the bottom. Then the single size 15 was on top, and the 2 ones, now they are along the outline. Anyway, coming back to the shop. So after 11 years, the shop was from 2013. I now decided that I have to move on again, which was a lot of work. And then I thought it's like a nice gimmick to just take this design and after 11 years to remake it and to redo it and give it to you as a little gift for all these years that you supported me. Thank you very much. Now we're exiting in the middle of that first pair here. You see I'm passing through the last bicone, and then I'm exiting from the first size 15 in between the bicones, and then I string 1 11, pass through the second size 15, the bicone, and the first size 15 of the next pair, and so on. So I always squish one size 11 in between the 2 15s here in these corners. Make sure that your tension is high in this round, and also that these size 11s are really not wonky in the position, that they're really on point. So in this way you have the perfect tension here and nothing gets loose later on when you wear your bracelet. This is the biggest visible difference to the previous design, as I surrounded the bicones in the previous design, but I decided that they have more sparkle if I just highlight them with the picots in between there. So that's why I decided to change it here, like that. Now we have to go back to our starting round, to one of the 6mm round beads. And here this is important where we're going to continue. We're going to make a zigzag line here because we have like these squares with the 2 pairs of round beads alternating with a pentagon. And a pentagon means that there is no direct opposite position. So here I will choose as it is in the drawing, in the instructions. I'm holding the piece upside down right now, so I'm exiting exactly from the same bead as it is shown in the instructions. What is here on the bottom is the top row in the instructions, and there we're skipping 1 position. Now I make my next link, and therefore I start with 1 11, 1 4mm round bead, 11 6mm round bead, 11 4mm round bead, and another 11, and I pass back through the 6mm round bead that I was exiting from. And now you see this link. When we're counting to the previous link, there is 1 position here in the picture, it's on the right, and 2 positions that I skipped on the left. Now I'm adding my triangle group, or this 1 size 11 that's creating this little triangle in the corner, on both ends of this connecting round bead here, of the round bead that's shared between the 2 units. So I'm exiting off one of the 2 11s, string 1 11, pass through the other 11, and then it's up to me whether I stay on this side or whether I'm going through the round bead to the other side to get in my preferred beading direction. See, just important is that you have this group of 3 11s here on either side. That's stabilizing your connection between the 2 adjacent components. Otherwise, there was always a position where the thread easily could break. Now we're forwarding to the first 4mm round bead here, and then from there on we will just pass through the round beads in once around. What a sentence. So you just reinforce this starting round, but you skip the size 11s, just the same as we did with the flowers and also with the first component, but here we always will reinforce this round after adding these little triangle corners in there. Then you exit from the size 11 in front of one of the 2 round beads, and you string 1 size 15, 3 11s, 1 size 15. That's already familiar to you now. You see here we add this arc in the bottom position and in the top position on both ends. Just make sure that you're always going through the right 11 here, not that you're accidentally passing through that top 11, which is just additionally in between these components. So we're exiting here from that size 11, and now you could start the little X shape here already, but you see here the thread is very loose, and when you start this embellishment right away at that place, it might be that you lose the tension in this top arc. So just go one position further, go through that 6mm round bead and exit from the 11 after that, and then you have automatically more tension in that little arc on the other end. Now the X is just made in the same way as before. You start with this group of 3/15s, 3mm round bead, 3/15s, and then you skip the middle, just go across and go through the size 11 in the top right corner here in that in the video. Then you weave back to through the 2/15s towards the round bead in the center to the 3mm round bead. You string 3/15s. Go to the pass the size 11 here in the bottom right corner that is in the video. That's the free position on that side. There's only one position left. And the same now on the other end. So we're passing back through the 3/15s up to the middle, pull it tight. Always when you exit from that round bead in the middle, then give the thread a tug. So to pull it tight and to increase the tension. Now the last one that's left is the one in the top corner, and you see that's hiding a little bit underneath here. So make sure that you again not accidentally take that top 11 there, which is on top. That's not the one we need. We need the one in the corner, whether it's hidden or not. Then you go back towards the center through the round bead, and now we have to see like, oh, wait a second, where did I start? And here you can see that very well, and I point that out in here. You see there are two threads here on the right position, and on the left position there's only one thread between the 3/15s and the size 11, and so again completed by passing back through the 11 here in that corner. It's always important to secure that starting position again, so in that way everything is going to be symmetrical. Now here we just repeat the flower. You just start from this round bead and make another flower just as it was described in the previous steps. So again, starting with the round beads and size 11s alternating, and now there comes the little magic trick, and you see like that's a little cut in the video. We skip it a little bit now. And you repeat the steps for the flower, and miracle, here we are, the flower is finished. Now the important thing is, you see, we want to make this zigzag line, and you see here in the video, it's on the bottom, I skip one bead, and then I have to skip 2 beads on the bottom here on that second flower, or other way around in the top position. You see, the zigzag line means that on the flower you always alternate the number of beads you're skipping left on the top and on the bottom. Now in this way you repeat it. You make one link, you make one flower, you make one link, one flower, alternating in that zigzag line until your bracelet has the required length. If we make the final connector here to mount our clasp to as well, and this starts as the other connectors, as you know from the other connectors. If you have a kit from my shop, there it will be enough beads in there for a 9th flower and a 10th connector, so that gives you additional length, so up to like 21 centimeter length. So this is really enough for most of the wrists. Okay, now I had 8 flowers for my wrist, 8 flowers and 9 connectors. So we start with this little triangle thing here in the corner, so we add the 3rd bead. Same on the other side. And then we will make the outline arcs, and when we're doing the outline arcs, you will also add the extra arc here to the last bead that we need to mount the clasp. It's the same that we did in the starting unit, just here now, only at the other end. That's the only difference. Also here, reinforce the round beads only in the beginning. This is something I didn't do. I don't remember doing that in the very beginning, but this is really something which is good for, it's an extra step. And even if your tension is good, but this is giving extra strength to the structure. The more movement is on the beads, the more friction is there on the thread. And it doesn't matter whether you use fireline or thread, at some point they will break because of the friction of beads. Okay, when there's tension on a structure as well, that's not good for the thread, but it's the friction between the beads and the thread that's always the killer for the thread and the killer for the durability of your beadwork. That's the problem. So now we string the beads for the arc. So that's 111, 3/15, 111, 3/15, 111. Then we skip that 6 millimeter round bead here at the outline, and then we add the top arc. And now it's a little bit up to you. You can either first make the loop and attach the clasp with the loop, or you first make that little X in the center. I prefer making the X in the center first, because then it's easier for me to adjust, to fix the thread and weave in the thread at the end, because I don't have to take care, like, okay, through this bead, I have to pass through another 2 times for my little X-shaped thing. So we don't need to take care of that. So probably it's easier to just first add this X in the center and then to mount the clasp. And you see here this outline arc where I'm adding my clasp. This is quite loose at that point, so I keep pulling it tight, but that's what I mean when you have these large number of beads or bigger beads or whatever, when you have these bigger groups where the thread is just going straight through without going left or right or whatsoever, it always tends to be very, very loose, and that's why we have to reinforce this position later again. And it's always better not to reinforce it right away, but to do something else in between, because then it's like adding these corner units or something, because then your tension will be way higher than just weaving twice through the same round in a row. That's a big difference for your thread tension. And that's why I didn't take care of this loose loop in the first place, but only said, like, okay, I will be there in a minute when I'm about to mount my clasp. So I'm weaving forward through the beads of this arc on the outline. You could also just pass through the 4 millimeter round bead, that's up to you. And then I'm going up here, and that's familiar to you. Again, I exit from that middle, size 11 here. I string my 2 11s, the 2 15s, and then the loop, the other loop part, or the loop at the other clasp part. I always leave them together when I start working, because then I'm not looking out for the other half of the clasp. So that's why they always stuck together here at my place. So we string the last 2 11s, pass back through the 11 that we were exiting from, and then you reinforce the round here. That's just the same as on the other side. And you can see here the size 15 is hiding a little bit. I mean, they perfectly fit through those loops. I'm pretty sure that the company who's manufacturing these clasps, this is the company Neumann. Also, that's the manufacturer of the Clasp Garden brand. And they make good quality, and I'm pretty sure that they did it on purpose, that size 15 matches perfectly into that hole. Okay, anyway, it's the second time passing around the beads. I'm only goofing. And then you exit from the first of the two 11s here, you string 115 and pass through the second 11, the two 15s on top here, and then the next 11, and then you add one last bead in between here. The important thing about these little loop rings is always that they're, again, no friction, that there's no loose thread between the beads, visible between the beads. And you see we still have that here on that arc. There's still a big gap in between. So what I can do is now I can either weave all the way around along the outline, or I'm just using my little X here. You see, I'm just passing from the 11 in the corner, I'm passing through the X in the middle, and then forward along the other three 15s here again towards the clasp, and then I can go back into that arc around the clasp here, going through that corner 11 and then into the beads of the arc. And you see that they're already snuggled up, but they get a third turn now. Third time is a bliss. So you just go another time through the beads here, and then we can really pull it tight, and then you can secure your thread. Just use the required reinforcement for in the beads where you can also or in the same moment where you secure your thread. Then it's a 2-in-1 step, and it's never a loss securing your thread. Okay, here we are. The bracelet is finished with clasp and everything is done. And now, just in time for the goodbye, the sun came out and shows you the beautiful sparkle of this bracelet. I hope you enjoyed the video and you like it. And as I said, you can download the PDF from my website. Thank you very much for your attention, and bye-bye.